apparently, as I was looking up some more references for the color scheme, I realized she has a bow on the back. I completely, absolutely, 100% missed that somehow. So, gonna have to try and put that back on. So that would be about that'd be about here, centered on the back, but it is, she's twisted. Her legs are off to the side. So the bow would actually be like right about here, completely. That changes things. That changes things. We'll continue on, figure out as we go. Alright, so she's got, well, start with her boots. Can't quite see it in that one. And, but it's a, like, saturated pink. That one is red. That reference is red, that one is pink. Let's see what the other references I got. Give me a sec. Okay, so which is it? Is it pink or red? So I think the picture here I've got is like an official DVD cover or something like that. But I have some other like in animation shots, and they're more pinkish. Well, this will be fun. What? Set it aside for the moment. Set it aside. Go with white. I'll clear the main body. And she does have a black outline. There's a very faint outline on things. So, well, I'll stick with the art style. So then there's her skin color. Very, very, very pale. Pale skin is odd, isn't it? Still got a red tint to it, and the skin I've been doing previously has always been a bit of a yellow tint to it. The brush is too big. Time for the small one. Just get in there for a bit. And you. fascinating. Just keep learning about different facets of the costume or design or things like that. I know this doesn't quite look like much that I'm doing since it's a white canvas and I'm painting white on it, but it is an important step to coloring it all. For the most part, I'm kind of just covering up the grid lines I had to transfer the piece over. I could just make the decision to have red bows instead of just the pink ones, but I don't know. We'll sort that one out when we get there. But we're kind of there, aren't we? Well, let's try for that pink. Faded, saturated faded red. I don't think I have the colors for that. The ability to make that. Very vibrant pink. The same issue I had with the light streaks in the background. I don't have that saturation ability. But I do have red. Paint speck got on the brush. That's honestly just about it for the paint, the white. She's got her main. I think it's kind of an important part here too. Just a little bit important. She's got her main leotard, and then a little the ridges on the waistband. I'll call that a waistband, I guess. Whatever you want to, that thing. Well, that's got me curious. Would like fictional outfits, do they actually have a name for the odd pieces they've got, or do they just is it just part of the dress or part of the suit or outfit or what have you? Like if somebody had like some weird like shoulder pad that hooked up onto the belt and then looped back around in some really weird, bizarre, unique configuration or something, would that have a name, or would it just be that shoulder belt or something? Like a completely unique outfit. Would it just simply be called a dress suit? Or would it have its own unique name? Practically in the real world, it probably not. But in their fantasy world, would it? Like all those fantasy heroes or whoever who have like all sorts of weird outfits. Or like those like weird pants that are like popular with a lot of Japanese JRPG protagonists, like big old poofy pants that are like half pants, something like, I don't know. You guys kind of know what I'm talking about, I think. I've seen some. I think there was one in Final Fantasy 9. Yeah, it was 9. There was this little rogue lady that you could acquire into your team. It's been a while. Yeah, she was part of your party. And she had these pants that are like, not quite pants. There's something a little different. Not quite sure what you would call them though. You? I guess that's okay. We'll find out. We'll find out. I still see little bits of the grid peeking through, which is why I'm focused on this bit here. But it is what it is. So in other news, we've got this bear that's been pestering us for past couple of days, and it struck again. This time it walked all over our yard, tipped over a barrel with we had rotten corn in, and so we're corn that had expired that it messed with last time. We tossed it in a barrel to take care of it later, and he went back for it. And yeah, so he's become a real pest, and we had to we've got the mama chicken. She's got 13 little teenage chickens, and but she doesn't like going in the coop. She just kind of does it all. She sits outside in the bushes somewhere and huddles up all the chicks and hides for the night. That's what she does. But we weren't quite what's the word? Weren't quite comfortable with just leaving her out there like that, because all it would take would be for the bear to find her, and then we're down a whole bunch of chickens. So last night we rounded them all up and put them into the coop manually. We circled the chickens, put a little protective fence around them, a temporary little, just to keep them from running off. And then we picked them up, put them in a tote, put that tote in the coop, and then let them be. They're actually surprisingly man, I can't think of words to say. Compliant. They didn't really freak out all that much. They did freak out because it was weird and strange in the middle of the night, but they were kind of cool with it for the most part. Especially Mama. That was the one that kind of surprised me. There's a little spot over here I missed. I'm going to, since it's such a fine spot over there. Smaller brush. Just another day in the life out in the middle of nowhere. On the homestead, I guess, is one way of putting it. Alright. This is really probably an unexciting little bit here, but I wanted to get the base done. What? Maybe I'll work on the outline now. Okay. Outline would be... It is a solid black. Very faint solid black. And there you are. Sorry about the bag. So figure out a better place for a lot of this. But at the same time, it's one of those weird situations where I will be moving soon. So what's the point of like reorganizing it right now? Because it'll just be moved around later. So it's one of those maybe, maybe not type of things. Or I'll just deal with it until then. Alright. But I probably should come up with something, because even when I move out and I get to wherever it is I end up going, I'll still need some way of organizing all this. And it'd probably be more effective to have one sooner rather than later. But I don't quite know what I would have, especially with this table I've got here. It's very small table. It's one I built and made mostly myself. But it was designed not for use right here, but for an end table, or technically it was built for a workstation, a work table, but it originally was one that was able to be folded down and collapsed and was portable. Because at the time I was still living in the living room, and since it was living room and everyone used it, I couldn't just have my stuff set up all the time. So I needed a way to have it like set up when I needed it and then put away when I didn't. Which worked out for the most part. I just needed a table to work on something. I could just pull it out and do a little bit of work. But now that I'm working on mainstreaming and stuff, it's too small. Because I've got the paint, my tools, my brush, my mouse. I actually have my keyboard off the table on the side so I can fit room for the paint. So it's just not quite enough. It's a nice table, nice, but just a hair too small. I did try working on the these other tables I've got. I've got this sewing table here, but it's about the same size. You can unfold the edges to get more table space, but it ends up being not quite true, because you get like a little pocket over there. There's a sewing machine. Yeah, sewing machine right here with a hole in it so it can go up and down and not be a nuisance. It's designed for a sewing machine in mind, but that causes problems if you want a actual table space, because the main area is right here where that sewing machine is, and there's a big old gaping hole in it. So most of the time my use is folded closed, which is roughly the equivalent of the table I've got here. So we'll figure that's not much of an improvement. Then I also have a really big I think it's another sewing table. Oh, just a kind of a dresser type of thing. It works out, but it's really old and patchy and kind of starting to fall apart. I could use that, but I don't quite have much space here for it. It's a weird situation. I'm not quite sure how to solve this. I could potentially get more shelves and just like put things off to the side, but I don't really have any shelves. I've got the one the screen is working off of, but I can't reach that because I got a table and stuff in the way. Hey. But it'll all work out one way or the other. Or if it doesn't, we'll just make do with what we got. Okay, come on. Alright, so that's the white and the outline for that. Okay. So now we've got... You know what, I'm gonna do it. Just we do have the white on the gloves. I missed that part. But those are still kind of. I don't quite like the shape. I want to refine the gloves a bit. There's kind of a temporary semi-placement there. Okay, let's go with you. Oh, just I try to clean these brushes, but they never quite clean out just right. Don't know why. Alright. So let's try. I'm gonna go with red. Just a bright. It's not this red. I can pull up that one. I'm gonna go with the red in the picture there, and not the pink for the other ones. Give me a sec while I just try and get a color version of it up over here, and it's still a bit of a faded red. Okay. I'm pretty sure it would be the closest bit. More of a primary color. Alright. And this paint cap is all cracked. Okay, so just the tiniest bit of white. Tone it down from the color I've got here. And see if I can mix that up. Alright, and be you. Okay. Alright, so we can take that and just the tiniest bit, just to soften it up. Maybe. Yeah, that's too much for what I need. But we'll figure it out. We'll work with it. How do I get the only real colors I'm personally practically able to work with are main colors and then tones up and down. I can mix a bit of it, but like the subtle changes, that's still a bit on the blue end. Because I can put white in the red and it just gets kind of closer to a skin tone than a paling. Let's try you. Would you be the proper color? I know you're very dark red, but maybe the white will even that out. Let's try. Okay, so you pop that down over here, switch it around. Okay, so let's try and grab some of it. Oh, I think that might do it. That might be a closer fit. Just gotta be a bit more subtle on the coloring, and I think that might be it. There we are. I think it's close. Maybe a bit dark. Tad more white. Well, let's work with this, and if it needs more touch up, more something else, we'll mix it as we go. All right, and we need this brush. All right. Here we go. And she's got her little crest thingy there. There we are. There we are. That's not bad. I still think that's a little bit too deep. A little bit too much on the color, but it's a good start. I can work with that. I can work with that. So yeah, that's I need to work with the alizarin crimson. Alizarin crimson is the color, base color, not the cadmium red. Alright. Still, I haven't changed it, but it's off. Let's try just a bit more white. Would probably clear up some. It is kind of a fascinating phenomenon with the paint, is because the color here is a little different than the color on the canvas. Makes it a bit tougher to tell how things are gonna go. But I bet that's more of a experience thing. You get used to it and just get an eye for it, I'd imagine. Yeah. There we are. Just a bit more filling in some of these odd little corners here. And there we are. Now it still has a lot of gaps and such from the oh, hello, welcome. Working on the bow here. And speaking of, I somehow managed to forget the one that she's wearing on her back. Yeah, she's got a bow that should be right about here on the reference. You can like literally see it's right about here on the picture. I somehow forgot about it. I somehow completely missed it. Like I legitimately did not see that bow when I was working on it. I think I was focusing on the skirt and how it would work upside down, getting the waistline and whatnot all picked out, and I think it just kind of blended into the background. It's weird how you can get tunnel vision. It's not a bad thing. I just need to add it in, but I gotta figure out how that's gonna work. So it's another thing to focus on. And not you, it's you. But hey man, how you doing? We had a bear come in the other day, mess with our stuff again. Same one. Well, we imagine. Bears are not all that common out here. This is, I think, the second or third one we've ever seen since we moved in here. And technically, we haven't seen it. We've only seen the what remained from its meandering through our place. It's fine. The biggest worry is it going after our chickens. And so last night we relocated the mama hen into the chicken coop. She likes sitting outside, just in the bushes, hidden somewhere, with all the chicks with her. But it wouldn't be overly difficult for the bear to find her like that. Or if the bear did find her, wouldn't be much she could do about it. So last night we rounded them all up and put them in the coop. They were very compliant, which was kind of fascinating. But yeah, things work out. Things are okay. We're gonna try and see if we can train them to be in the coop anyways. Makes things a little bit easier for us. Damn it, that's not supposed to be red. That's supposed to be a white one. Shit. Alright, redo. Well, no, she's a very, very protective mama. She would not run like hell. She might run in a direction, try and distract the bear, and then she would most likely go off and try and attack it, knowing what kind of a bear she is. Mother she is. But yeah, and chickens can be surprisingly difficult to catch that way, especially more as a human. But yeah, that's why in order to catch a chicken you really have to just corner them and do the whole thing with them. Otherwise they just keep running around. Oh, and some other news. We did manage to, my dad decided we needed to, butcher 2 of the roosters. They were causing a lot of problems for some of the hens for a while, but he just wasn't sure which one specifically they were. He finally found out, and, we took care of that. And now, one of the things he noticed is, it's a very calm, it's very calm out there. You let the chickens out, and the hens would try and run out and escape the little pen we've got them in. Right from the get-go. But after we did the butchering, the hens didn't do that. They just kind of calmly and peacefully just sat around and ate some of the feed that was on the ground. No frantic rushing, no squabbling, none of that. So it's definitely a good thing that we had to do. Potentially. We actually have a second coop that we put her in specifically for just her. But yeah, we've got the main coop with all the other chickens, and then we had the second coop, which was a renovated chicken coop for a art crafts room, but then got repurposed after that into an actual living quarters for my sister and her husband. But then it was too small and they moved out and they built another one like this, so then it was abandoned again. And so then we repurposed it back into a chicken coop. It's kind of silly how things work out like that. But yeah, so this new old coop we've got is empty, save for Mama Chicken and her hen, her chicks. Mama Hen and her chicks. So it's they don't have to fight or squabble or anything else with the other chickens. They can just have their own place, and it does. We think it'll help them get used to the coop mindset. That it's a good, okay place to be, and that they can be in there and do some stuff. Hopefully, because so far we've just been letting them do whatever, and the mother hen, she kind of just, yeah. Our chickens are mostly free range. We do feed them feed and the like, of course, but we have enough property and grass and such that they just walk around, eat the bugs, eat the grass, just whatnot. But she tends to hide in the garden over there, our strawberry patch, or what used to be our strawberry patch, and she'll like wake up and then she'll like just waddle around the house, go over there, pick some stuff, go over in that direction, walk over here, see some stuff over here, and walk back over there, and just kind of walk in circles around the area. Get enough stuff, and then they go back to sleep. So yeah, they just kind of just meander around our property. And they don't go very far. It's not like they just pick a direction and go that way and then bunker down for the night. So they go a distance, and they come back and hunker down where they came from. So yeah, it's kind of a fascinating thing watching them. And then we have guinea hens. If you know anything about them, you know that they're quite noisy. Well, they can be noisy. We used to have 5, but 3 of them got taken out by the wildlife here. We're not sure specifically what, but they got taken out relatively early on, and so we only have 2 hens, the female ones, left, and they're a little pair. They're always together. They're always close by to each other, one way or the other. But guinea hens are very good watchbirds, watchdogs, whatever. And if they see something suspicious, they'll start squawking, and are very keen on a lot of things. And you can pick them out. When we originally had all 5 of them, we had one that was just a very, 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 very talkative one, and just would not shut up. Just straight up would not shut up. The danger would be gone, but they'd sit there and still be freaking out for whatever reason, and just keep squawking and just keep squawking and just keep squawking. When that one left, I wasn't too worried about it. But now it's a lot quieter. Anyway, I bring this up because the 2 guinea hens, they work together in pairs, and they have a different schedule than the chickens. The chickens, once it starts getting kind of like evening-ish, they take notice and go back into the coop. But the guinea hens, they stay out until the sun goes down, and they'll sit out in a little pair picking at stuff, whatever. You can see them, and they're still outside, and you walk back out and they're still outside walking over here. And then when the sun really gets down, that's when they go into the coop. So it's kind of a fascinating thing watching them do stuff. You are too big, so we'll go with not you either. There we are. So yeah, you just kind of sit there and watch the bird world. And you get to learn a bit about them. Yeah, we've got one rooster. My dad has named him Speck, because he's got a kind of a patchwork coloring on him. he managed to lose one of his eyes. I think it was during a rooster fight of some sort, or it was damaged enough that he can't see very well out of it. And so he's got this one eye, and chickens' eyes are on the side of their head. And so when he's looking at you, you can straight up tell because he's looking at you. And you look at something else, he goes like that and looks around and moves his head all over the place. He's very observant, very nice chicken. He'll actually kind of come up to you. Almost to the point you can sit down and pet him, but he doesn't quite like that. But yeah, so it's he's a very nice chicken. My dad has gotten them trained to the point where they'll feed out of his hand, and potentially yours if they aren't too worried about you. Chickens are very skittish, but they're also very, very aggressive at times. It's weird. Nice chickens. Yep. And yeah, you can definitely tell which. Oh, you can tell when a chicken is a good one based off the hens around them, or the roosters rather, because the troublesome ones don't really have hens stick around. Because yeah, the speck guy, he's got a couple of them that just stick around by him, and you can tell that they feel quite comfortable with him. And he'll like find some food or a bug or some such, and he'll like, oh hey ladies, look, I found something for you. And they'll all kind of waddle on over and check something, peck at it, and he'll like show them this stuff and that stuff. And so the hens tend to stick around them, and they have little groups that they stick around with. But the troublesome ones don't really have that, and they go chasing down the hens, which is again where we had the problem with we had a butcher. But since a lot of them are very similar looking, and it's hard to tell which ones are doing something, or if they're maybe chasing down the other rooster to stop them from doing something, it's hard to tell at an immediate glance. Which is why my dad had a bit of difficulty doing it at first, but after that it's a lot more simplistic. It's a lot quieter, a lot calmer. We did have one really pretty interesting piece of work for a chicken. We nicknamed him Poncho because he was a good. His calm is very nice. But we had this little chicken. He was a tiny one. I think the term is bantam. Was the name for it. But he had a bit of a Napoleon complex. He's bigger and better than everything. And he would go after people if you like looked at him funny. And so I think we did lose him to the wildlife. I think. I can't remember specifically what happened to him. But we didn't have him anymore at one point. And so, but yeah, he would chase after some of the girls. He would chase after some of us, the people. And yeah, that was just a very, very troublesome chicken. To the point where we had to lock him up in a different building, the greenhouse, where we stored some of the bunnies. And it's not actually a greenhouse, but it's just, it used to be, but we renovated it to something else. Now kind of a storage shed. But yeah, he would go after things, and he was like about yay big, and the other chickens are about yay big, standing up, whatnot. And he would go after the big chickens, and then they'd beat the snot out of him for doing things, and then walk away. Then he'd get up and try and go after them again, and they'd beat the snot out of him again. He'd get back up and try and beat them again. Storage shed, weed farm. Something like that, yeah. But yeah, this chicken just didn't get it. and he'd go after us people. Mostly my mom is who he really went after, and she'd kick him. He'd run up to her and she'd kick him and take whatever she was carrying and smack him with it and smack him with it. And he just never learned. He just kept trying. It was troublesome. But yeah. And you can't talk to him and say, "Hey, stop doing that. You're an idiot. If you stop this, we'll stop hitting you." No, it's just he's gonna keep going. And so that problem got sorted. No longer an issue. But yeah, with the chickens, my dad, he's been working on the genetics. He's been really he's been really into the chicken genetics, trying to breed right ones, because we had some we had some chickens that were pretty hardy. We have winters here. They're not harsh, but they like just dips down into the sorted. I don't think we did, as far as I know. I think he was legitimately taken by predators, but I can't remember, and so I guess it's as good as mine. That's not right. That's odd. I don't know further. But yeah, he's been in the chicken genetics, and we get down into winter, and the combs, little red things on top of their heads. Sometimes it would get so cold that they'd get like frostbite right on the tips of them, and they and it was problematic. They'd be fine, they'd be warm enough, but they just dip down cold enough where they'd get frostbite on them. And it's my dad really didn't like that. He wanted to not have that. And one of the ways is to get chickens with some smaller combs. There's breeds that have, instead of like a big old floppy one, just kind of a little ridge on the top. You can't get rid of it completely, as far as I know. But yeah, so he wanted to try and work out these breeds of chickens with the low combs, with these breeds of chickens, which are more temperamental, work with stuff, and also have camouflage as a bit, because camouflage is kind of important. You can have the big old flashy, colorful looking chicken, but then a hawk will fly by, see it immediately, and go get them. So we have a lot of chickens that are relatively camouflaged, and so my dad's trying to play the genetics, saying, okay, if we get these chickens, breeding with these ones, we'll get these outputs, or we could potentially get these, and once we get these, we can. There's even a chicken calculator online that he's been messing around with to try and get it all done. Apparently it's a really big thing for a lot of chicken people. But yeah, apparently he's working out, and some of the baby chicks that have come out with Mama, the 13 or so, 2 of them came out as white chickens, which he's actually pretty happy with, because that means he's cut down on like a third of the potential outcomes for once he needs. Because with the genetics, yeah, chicken genetics are actually kind of different. Like I think the rooster side is able to have like 2 coloring genetic traits, while the hens are only able to have 1 coloring genetic trait, which is why the the roosters tend to be very, very colorful, but the hens do not. Like the rooster will have like the green and blue and like all these fanciful colors, but you'll never see the same one as a hen. It's always the rooster that's all colorful, because genetics. Like the hen will have white, but the rooster will have white and brown. Okay, and then you have other ones, just simplifying it. And so the traits get different in that regard, which is why the roosters are important, because they carry a lot of genetic information, but the hens are the ones who raise and care for all the kids and have the other half of the genetic information. So it's a bit different and whatnot. Yeah, but he's been looking at the genetics calculator every so often, and I'll see him saying, well, if we get these ones here, and what if they have these traits? Because you can't tell, like, you can tell some of the traits. Like one of them is like just a blank single color feather, and then there's a feather with a double color, and then there's a feather with I think it's called lacewing or something. You've got the feather, okay, just the feather coming out and point here, and it's got an outline in a different color than the main feather. Say the main feather is like black, but then there's one on the outside that's white or gold or brown, okay? And so it's a black feather with a gold outline, and that's a very specific and recessive trait. Some of our chickens have that, and he's trying to get that into the genetics, whatever. It's a fascinating little process he's working on. Yeah, it's like, you can see it here it is. But yeah, it's fascinating watching it all kind of evolve and happen. There's one dude, my dad was, it was a lady. This one lady my dad was watching to him on YouTube about chicken genetics. She's been working years and years on her chickens, getting them the right breed. Basically the same ones he wanted, which was a smaller comb and this kind of breed, which isn't a standard option. I think I'm missing something here. Oh, there it is. However, her neighbor had a family member's dog come over for 1 year, and it got through the fence and killed the chickens. One she has been spending years and maybe even like a decade or so trying to get the chickens just right. It's like, well, there go all my chickens. She was kind of pissed, but she would put out videos on like how the chickens are doing, the breeds that were going on. But she had the neighbor's dog just break through, and all the chickens are gone. Poof, there they go. Never to be seen again. Yeah, that would definitely suck. Yeah. But at that point, just what do? You can't just unkill a chicken. And apparently the neighbor was just, they're just chickens, just get some new ones. Which was not a very appropriate response. I don't know most of the story, but I just know that the chickens did die because of a dog or something. We have the issue of bears and coyotes and weasels and hawks and vultures and such. Chickens are actually really, really perceptive, more so than you would think. At least, especially the wild-ish ones. Because because you can tell when they're like suspicious of something. Like you can hear them like squawking, like something's going wrong, especially the guineas if they notice it. Then the chickens either are squawking or they're absent. They are just gone. Not like taken, but hiding. The hens tend to just hide in the bushes, hide in the coop, and you can see the roosters just kind of like keying on something, and just like keeping an eye out and just keying on something. They're able to spot like vultures in the sky, just kind of circling the area. A hawk up on a tree. We've had them pop up all. It's a pretty common thing that happens. We can't ever catch the mammal predators, coyotes, bears, things like that. But we are able to catch a lot of the birds. Hell, Mama Hen actually fought off a hawk one day. My dad was out and he noticed the hen squabbling or something, and he looked over and can't remember the whole story, but apparently it looks like the hawk tried to go down for a chick, but Mama Hen something like tackled or like really severely distracted the hawk to the point the chicks were fine, but the hawk flew back up into a tree and was looking at us, and so we got the gun and shot at it. I don't think we got it, but when it's going after your livestock, you try and protect them. Oh, they're very perceptive. Oh, coops for the eggs. They'll peck at you and maybe they'll try and twist at you, but they're not really horrible. It's just the really broody ones that don't work at it. You can also just like pick up the chicken, set it aside, and then just take the eggs that way. That's a bit, yeah, not quite the best way to go about it, but it's possible. But you did live in a farm, huh? Interesting. Learned something new. Yeah, I did not live on a farm, but I currently do. Of sorts. It's not really a farm, it's just a homestead with things. Yeah, even in town, people have chickens and such. I even know some people who have like ducks and such in town. Ducks are kind of weird. Yeah, you never told me. I try not to pry into viewer private lives. Because mostly this is my show. It's you guys come to see me, not to have your lives aired on international internet. So I just try not to pry too much. Oh, cool. What kind of arms then, if I may ask? Like a big old production farm, or just kind of a family farm type thing? Did you have a specific crop? Like beets or potatoes? Something like that? Yeah, I think we have a main crop. I think the main-est crop we ever had was strawberries, because those things just never died. They just straight up just kept living. I think I saw your comment, Flash. Give me a sec. I'm trying to use up the paint while I got it. And since I did this red, I've got to give an extra coat on here. Mostly family farm. Chickens, geese, dogs, cats, cows. Geese, huh? How are the geese? I've heard that they can be troublesome, but also very protective. Yeah, geese would be a odd one for me. I've heard that geese can be a decent like guard dog or something, but they're temperamental. I've heard. I don't quite know personally, other than the silly internet videos of mailmen getting attacked by them or whatnot. Wheat or rice, alright, fair enough. Those are fairly large need a lot of room for those crops. It was probably wheat, I'd imagine. Rice, you can, but rice is mostly grown with water because it's a natural pesticide. Rice, okay, yeah, it all depends on the individual, not necessarily their species as a whole. But yeah, and like also how they're raised and allowed to be. But yeah, it's because give me a sec. This is not coming out quite right. Geese are kind of interesting, but yeah, it's yeah, it all depends how we've got. Chickens are the biggest example for me. It's like we've got some that just sit there and attack anyone if they look at them funny. Other ones that'll follow you around just quite generously. Other mama hens that'll like sit there and protect their chicks at all costs. And then you've got other absolutely retarded chickens that don't know how to like sit on eggs. They just like squish them and then just sit on them, then go leave and do whatever, come back and expect them to be okay again. Yeah, it just love your next room. Imagine. I've seen a picture online of like somebody getting like hugged by a goose, and it's like big old wraparound type of thing. Kind of silly, but made me smile. But yeah, it's animals are creatures too. They like affection just as much as anybody else. And it's those people who say they're just animals, they don't care, have never actually had any experience with an animal. You can just tell. And honestly, how people treat animals is a major way to tell a person's character. There's one thing if like I was attacked by dogs or had a bad experience with something or other, a bit of leeway that way. But when they oh come on, don't be like that. But when they just like don't care about an animal, you can tell they're not a good person. It's just, I don't know. People are weird. People. But yeah, that's why I tend to deal better with animals than I do with people. It's just kind of the way things end up going. There we are. One of the big things is animals tend to be pretty honest with how they're feeling or what they want. Not always, because you do have the ones that are real buttheads about things, or try and sneak into the kitchen and try and eat off the counter or something like that. Apparently, I had a friend who had a dog, and he said they swear that dog could fly. Because, they'd leave for, something, and, their dog would somehow get onto the kitchen counter and, eat the bread that was hidden up there. And this was like an old little dog. There's like no way it could reach the chest high counter, but it did somehow. And I don't think they ever figured out how. Not quite right. I really hate that I messed up that red. Caused that to be a little different than what it should have been. It should sit on you. What, you think you some big old golden egg or something? Yeah, it's like, say things like that. And you could get pets and animals to do silly things, or you work with them, and you can like always notice like they're all little habits and such. I guess it was a smart dog. Probably. Well, it's just, dogs can be, animals in general can just be very, very crafty. And they know as long as you're there, they're not allowed to do the thing. But as soon as you're gone, you're not there anymore, and you can't stop them. So they go and do it. Buttheads. But yeah, it's. But yeah, you'll see them do all sorts of crazy, strange little things. And now we've got a cat. It's my sister's cat. Her name is Heidi. She was on stream for a while when they needed me to take care of her for a bit. They were worried about her crawling through the holes in the house. Our house over there isn't entirely sealed. It's got small little crevices and patches that she can like climb out of or some such. They were worried about that, especially as a kitten, not knowing where she would go or how to get back in or something like that. So they let me hold on to her every so often and show her up on stream. She's gotten a lot bigger now, a lot bigger. But anyway, this cat is something else. Let me tell you. She you can pick her up and just kind of like lay her on your arm, and she doesn't really care much. You just kind of flip around, flop around, do whatever, and she's like, whatever, go away. She likes being around people in the shower. Take a shower, and she's right there on the towel rack, kind of just like looking at you, wondering what the hell you're doing. Bring her in there, and she doesn't mind it overly much. She doesn't like being wet, but it's a very strange cat. They gave her a bath in the sink, and she's like, all right, and just kind of like sat there, and she wasn't frantic like all the other cats. She took water okay. She tries to play with the dogs, the Saint Bernard. She'll try and tap him on the nose and come on, play, pat, 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 and try and grab his tail, and she just kind of tries to play with him. The Saint Bernard doesn't quite know what to do with the cat. It's like, I can't wrestle with you. You're too small. Yeah. I've got another cat that likes eating dog food. Yeah, he eats cat food, but he also just sits there and munches on the dog food. The Saint Bernard brand food meant for large breeds, and it's this small-ish cat eating. We keep trying to get him to stop, but he doesn't. I don't know. I doubt we'll ever be able to do that. Alright. So, next up. I'm going to work with the blue on her. We only got the skirt and the collar here as in blue. But I think it might cause problems with the background color here. Let's go with a bit lighter on that one to make it stand out a little bit more. But let's, because I'm gonna try and get a bit darker, like this shade maybe on the skirts, because that's about right. Well, hold on a sec. Yeah, it's a fairly dark color. So let's let's work it out. But yeah, you get all sorts of weird stories about pets and animals doing all sorts of cute, silly little things. Or odd little habits that they do. Yeah, we've got we have a problem with squirrels on occasion, or we used to, and they would come down and eat our crops. They'd pick up all the seeds we just planted, and so they were a absolute menace when trying to start a garden. They'd also try and like steal the chicken food, things like that. It was just, they were a pest, and so we again have to get the gun and like try and shoot them and such. But we've got 3 dogs. We kind of always have at least 3 dogs. No real particular reason, but that's just the way it kind of goes. We have currently a big old Saint Bernard, a medium-sized Australian Shepherd, and a small little Papillon. And he's this floofy, frilly looking dog. Long hair, big old floofy ears, and curved tail. But we'd take out the gun and we'd shoot at the squirrels to get them, hey, stop eating our stuff. And the big dogs would run away and hide, but the little dog, where is it? Oh, I will go get it. And so if you managed to get the squirrel, he would run after it and try and grab it. So this squirrel, which is almost as big as him, and he's sitting there, looky what I got, looky what I got. This tiny little dog just run over and like gets excited when you pull out the gun to shoot something. What are you gonna get? Can I get it? Can I get it? But all the other dogs run away. It's like, oh my god, scary boomstick. And yeah, so the little dog just is like 4th of July, New Year's, fireworks come out, and the big dogs sit there and cower inside. But the little guy's like, hey, cool. What are you guys doing? It's nothing. Just the silliness of it all. But yeah, and stuff like that. It's fun when you can get just seeing how all the dogs, animals react to things. That little guy also loves sticks. Yeah, not quite so much anymore. I think his teeth are starting to go out for it. Personality, yeah. But this dog, if you got a stick and you threw it, he would get you that stick. He's not one of the other ones that would just like pick up whatever random stick and this is the one, right? No, he would. If you toss that stick into a pile of other sticks, he'd sit there and sniff it out, sniff it out, sniff it out, and find that one stick you threw and bring it back to you. And like if you had like a big stick that he couldn't quite fit and you broke it off and chucked it, no, I don't want that part, I want this part. And you could get like break it down into like little pieces, and he'd get that one specific piece that he wanted and bring it back to you. We weren't quite sure what specifically were his motives or whatnot for any of that stuff, but he would get you back the specific stick you threw, and was persistent in you doing that. But yeah, it's funny watching them just be themselves and doing all sorts of silly little things. Alright, this is gonna be... No, this is probably gonna get covered up by the ribbon or the bow. And this is a lot of paint for these tiny little areas. Yeah, so I'm gonna need to brighten up the background here to make it a little more accessible, more noticeable. And brush is too big. Bloodhound. a bit, but it's this tiny little dog. This tiny little dog. One of the ones, whenever when he was younger, he's getting to be an old dog now and doesn't quite do that as much, but, when they were all younger, the big dogs would key on, like, some little thing out in the forest, a squirrel, a deer, something, whatever, and the big dogs would just bolt after it and chasing after whatever the hell it was. Scratch off the paint you made a mistake on? Which mistake? Technically yes, but practically no. It's a lot easier to just, paint over, the mistake. But, which mistake? The, colors here. It's dry, so I can get a new coat of paint on there. And, just color it something else. Technically like I did for right here. And you can technically scratch it off, but it's a bit more troublesome because it dries out and there's primer underneath, which it adheres to. So I could technically scratch it off, but it's a lot of work, and honestly just easier to redo it. There we are. But yeah, no, I appreciate the suggestion. Because oftentimes I do be an idiot sometimes, and it's like, why don't you just do it the easy way, man? Oh yeah, that would be an easier way to do things, wouldn't it? Because yeah, it's I've had that actually happen to me in work sometimes. I'm sitting here trying to figure out a way for these guys to solve a problem, generally how to get from point A to point B with chords. Okay, you could, yeah, it was, yeah, there was this one guy, he came in, and he needed to connect the internet to his kid's laptop for school because of COVID, or all this, crazy stuff. So, he came in asking how to do that. He wasn't very technically, skilled, but, so he wanted to be able to connect his internet to his kid's laptop. And so I'm going, okay, we can work with that. What kind of laptop does it have? It's just kind of a school laptop. Okay, I'm thinking at that point, probably doesn't have an Ethernet port. It's probably one of these, just cheapo, bare minimum type laptops. So we can't get an Ethernet port there. He wanted a cord to connect from the internet box to his laptop. Specifically is what he was asking for. Okay. Well, we can get a Ethernet to USB cord and cable. For that, it's like, okay, we could do that, but I don't know. But it was like only this long. But I need the cord too. I need it to get to the my kid's laptop. It needs to be about 7 feet or so. Alright, let's see what we got. Okay, we got Ethernet cord about 10 foot. This Ethernet cable to USB. That should be able to do it, right? Maybe? But, and I'm thinking, wait. What kind of laptop is it? Does it have the USB standard or the USB-C? Because we only have one of the USB things, and so we could also try a USB cord to extend it to there and So I'm sitting here trying to piece together all this stuff to get it together to fit, because he needs about 7 feet of cord to get to this laptop. And eventually, at some point, I realized he was having like problems. He didn't quite like how many steps he needed to do all this stuff. But then he's like, then I'm like, wait, do you have a router? We could connect to the router. What's a router? You know, a router would probably be your simplest solution, buddy. And so that's it's like I got too caught up into the cord aspect of getting things that I forgot about a router, which would be a simple solution. And so yeah, that's what he ended up going with, a router that connects everything. And as you just get so caught up in the moment, trying to solve problem A, that you forget that answer B is entirely legitimate. But yeah, it's like, especially with me working on the hardware side of things, I tend to be very hardware oriented when fixing problems. I tend not to think as much in software terms, because that's my job. I fix the hardware of things. Okay, so you might need a new thing. Okay, you'll need a new loudspeaker for this bit, so we'll have to take apart the phone, get this part, get it in. Couldn't I just use headphones? Yeah, you can get headphones too, that'll work. It's just, I get so caught up in the logistics of things, I don't see the forest for the trees. And I appreciate when people are able to point that out to me. Potentially, but I couldn't guarantee that. I think some of the people in the area have a modem box or a dish box or something different, and I can't guarantee. It probably should, but this will guarantee that you do have it. Alright. So that's one of the other things, especially with this area. We've got a couple of internet providers, and they vary a bit. I think one of the big ones is like Dish Satellite. I don't know if they have a wireless router modem. They probably should, but I can't guarantee that aspect. I explained to him as best as I could how to set it up, and since he hasn't been back, I don't think it's an issue. But yeah, there is also that aspect. Yeah, we used to rent out the cell phone boosters, because they're $300, $400, $500 boosters, and people aren't quite. This isn't a really rich area, so that's a lot of money for some people. And the boosters were not a guarantee that a guarantee that they would work for you. So what we would do would be we used to rent it out for about 2 days. You could take it out, try it out, see if it would pick up any signal for you. Then if it did, we'll sell you a real one and knock off the price of the rental you just used. It was actually a really good thing. A lot of people like doing that. However, we had idiots. You will always have idiots who didn't know how to set up the router. We always try to explain, get this, point it at the near cell tower, do this, you need these, the outer antenna, the inner antenna, the booster, yada yada yada. Well, these idiots didn't know how to attach the booster to a pole, a tree or something, or the bracket. So they had the bracket. Drill through the antenna. They had the bracket here, they had the antenna here, and they had the post here. All the way through. And then they complained that it didn't work. So yeah, we had to stop renting out the rental because people destroyed it. It's like, that's not what you do with electronics. You don't screw through the whole thing. It's like, yeah, it's like, honestly, we'd like to give you a rental for you to try out some of this stuff, but we can't guarantee you're not going to destroy it in the process, so we don't do rentals anymore. Yeah, it's like, now I use those pieces as exactly. Yeah, now I use those pieces as the display demo unit to explain to people how it works and how it's set up. Okay, this is the piece. You do not screw through it, okay? But this is the antenna. You point it at the tower. This is the booster. This is the thing you connect to here, the antenna, to the yada, yada, yada. And it seems to work out. A lot of people really do well with being able to see something. If you just explain it to them without any visual prop or what have you, it's a lot more difficult to grasp for some people. Alright. Yeah, I'm going to definitely need a much brighter spot in this area. And these bits up here. Oh, that would be why. You're the wrong size brush. But yeah, it's most people tend to understand a lot of that stuff, but you just always get, all it takes is one idiot. All it takes is one idiot. Where'd you go? You? There we are. Alright, but it is what it is, and we don't touch the canvas. Right, we moved on. We did what we could. Whatnot, and we currently are. The boosters tend to be our #1 item that we sell, which is kind of crazy, honestly. Yeah, some people have even yeah, it's like, it's the biggest reason why I keep pulling that out to explain to people. Because even if I give them the best explanation possible verbally, just having something to see just makes it click that much easier, that much faster, that much more. It's like the same as studying everything from a book, but then actually seeing it in person. It's just different. Alright, come on. But yeah, it's so I pull it out every so often, trying to explain to people how things go. Why the hell did I just... I'm an idiot. I clean off the brush and try and keep it from being all the way down there. Then the first thing I do after that is the exact same thing I try to prevent. But yeah, it's people work. I've learned to be pretty efficient at explaining things to people who have no idea what I'm talking about. The biggest trick is trying to explain it in terms that they themselves understand. Are they Bluetooth to your phone and wireless to your PC? Or, does it have to be with location? Like, is your PC under the table behind the desk in the back? A bit more things to run through than otherwise. Oh yeah, there's... It could also be that RF dongle. Give me a sec. Dongle for both your phone and the PC, or you were using a dongle for the phone as well? I'm not sure on that one. I'm not sure. That I don't know. Wireless stuff gets kind of just, if it works, it works. It works because magic. Don't gotta explain shit. Type of thing. Oftentimes, technology is very akin to black magic. It just works. At a better range. I don't know. I honestly don't know at that point. It's because wireless stuff is always odd. I personally generally like wired devices, just because of the fact that I know they're working right now. Well, maybe it was the time of day, the humidity, you had something else in the thing. Your original test of the PC is off. Maybe the phone puts more power into the dongle than the PC. Something like that. I don't know. Yeah, a sec. More power, that would... Yeah, that's the only thing I can really think of at that point. Yeah, the phone might be just putting more power through it than the PC. And the PC's treating it like just a generic mouse pad or something. And doesn't do much more than that. Just bare minimum it needs. While the phone might divert everything it's got to there. Maybe. Who knows? Who knows? That's above my pay grade. That's above my skill level for figuring out why something like that works. But for me personally, I like mostly wired devices, like ones I've got here. They are annoying at times, especially this particular headset and my current setup. But it works. It's okay. I am thinking about potentially getting wireless stuff, but I just don't know. This works. It's what I got. If it ain't broke, don't fix it type of thing. Alright. So yeah, for this piece here, I am going to have to brighten up the surrounding areas of this skirt, just so you can see it a bit better and it doesn't blend back into the background as much. Not quite sure what specific direction to take on that, but we'll see. Alright. It's weird also trying to keep outlines in mind, because I can't quite see where the outlines are like this. Like right here, it's a bit hard to see, but I've covered up the line that should be there. So I'm going to have to guess a little about where this went. But I have enough of a memory I can piece it together. I can bring in my controller to work today, maybe. See if I can get that fixed or not. That'll be nice. I do gotta figure out which one is the good one. Yeah, shouldn't be too hard. But yeah, I don't know. Don't know what I'm talking about no more. Alright, there we are. That's a decent skirt. Now I am likely going to be covering up this area right there with a bow. But I gotta figure out how that's gonna be, because she's twisted and not just straight at the camera again, like in the pose over there. So that bow is gonna be in a slightly different, relatively significant different spot. So I'll have to figure that out. Maybe I'll putz on it for next time. But it is what it is. Okay, so got blue. Maybe I can work on the maybe I can work on the lightning, the background. Okay. Art is good, though I walk around a lot doing stuff cleaning. Yeah, I can see that with a lot of the wiring stuff. You're physically linked to whatever. The big one for me is batteries with a lot of wireless stuff. Maybe just my time with Game Boys sticking with me. But I never liked a controller in the middle of a game. The battery goes out, and now you're sitting there dying to some video game boss. And you can't pause the game because the controllers did. So you're frantically running around searching for a set of batteries to plug in and hope you can make it towards the end. You generally don't. Let's add a bit more view. 17 to 19 hours? Jeez. That's relatively significant. I don't know if much. Oh, 17 to 19 hours. That's actually a really long time. Give me a second. But yeah, the battery life is also weird. Oh. Speaking of battery life, my manager has a friend of the boss, or like the boss's sister, something of that nature. So it's like higher up on the chain. Needed a new laptop for her work, her personal business, right? Let's just give me a sec. Let me just double check this. Charge it pretty quickly. Now that's not bad. And charging up is also another factor. And that would be about the same color. Not the same damn color. So more blue. Sorry. Give me a sec. I really can't quite iterate enough how hard it is to mix colors on this tiny little square. Cause yeah, see, I've got this blue spot right there. Okay, that's where I'm mixing my colors. This is the smallest palette knife they had, and it is the same size. So I have that much room to wiggle with, that much room to mix with, and it's not a lot. I really do need to make my own palette at this point. But yeah, the boss man. The boss guy had a sister or a friend of the sister or some relative or acquaintance or some friend, and he knew that we work with electronics. Maybe we can help them find out a laptop that they're looking for. So we ended up looking into all sorts of laptops and finding out these things for these people. Well, this lady, to try and get the perfect laptop for her, because she wanted a scrapbooking one, but she wanted a 1 terabyte solid state hard drive, and she wanted like 3 USB ports, one for the mouse, one for the keyboard, one for an external hard drive. She wanted a CD port on there. She wanted a 17-inch screen. She wanted a touch screen. She wanted a long battery life. Yada 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 yada. And she was hoping for maybe a backlit keyboard. She heard that was pretty cool, and she wants a graphics card. She heard that's really important for things. You can tell that she just heard a lot of interesting buzzwords and such from people, and was kind of regurgitating that kind of information. And so all the stuff that she kept tossing out. Yeah, I'm not kidding. Those were like the specifications she was working with. That's what she wanted, and so we gave her we found a PC or a laptop. It had to be a laptop, portable. that she wanted with those qualifications, and it was $3.5 grand for one of them, with everything she was asking for. And we're like, lady, you're asking for a hell of a lot. Yeah, that was kind of it. It's like, well, yeah, a bit, but I'd like it a bit cheaper if possible. Then what are you willing to give up to reach that? But yeah, it's like we're trying to explain all this stuff. But one of the things that they were asking for was, what's the battery life on the laptops? They don't quite really have that, especially with the laptop that you're asking for. The battery life is not really something that they're selling point. They're trying to sell you a laptop that will do these impressive things, not last forever. But yeah, $4 to $5 grand. Yeah, no, it's she was a bit shocked at the $3.5 grand for the one piece. We eventually managed to work our way down. One of the things though was she apparently, give me a sec. Oh yeah, and she did not want a gaming PC. She specifically did not want a gaming PC. She wanted a work PC, or laptop. Okay. Give me a minute. And so we worked with it best we could. We ended up finding something she wanted. Turned out, she apparently had a friend who got a similar PC, and she got it. And I asked her, after going through back and forth trying to figure out what the hell she wanted and what we could work with, well, my friend, she got this one from like Costco. Okay, what is the specifics? So what I did was I went to the Costco website, looked up laptops that they had, found the model that she wanted, and hey, is this one? Yeah, that's perfect. You found exactly what it was. Cool. There you go. Graphic CPU chip. Yes. Yeah, no, but try telling the customer that, especially the friend of the boss or the relative of the boss. Yeah, it's just, it got crazy pretty fast. But yeah, it just we worked it out like that and such. But give me a sec, I'm cleaning up this bit here. I'm gonna be painting over this in a flat color, and then I'm gonna touch it up on a second bit and just humor them. The thing is, trying to humor them as much as you can. She even specifically said NVIDIA in like some of her requirements for whatever. It's like, yeah, okay, I can do that, but she had to have touchscreens. Okay, you can have touchscreen, but then it was a pain. But anyway, since we did such a good job of finding a specific laptop for her, and we found the perfect one for her, she told her friends. Her friends then have been bombarding us with other laptop information and things to look for. Oh, could you get me a laptop? I want one a bit cheaper, but like 2 terabyte hard drive. And here's one. The husband of one of the ladies who got one of these laptops, saying he kind of needs one, but he doesn't want anything too specific. It's just, speed is the key for him. Just grab one off the shelf and give it to him. Just grab a laptop off the shelf. Just one of the off-the-shelf type laptops. That's not how it works today, dude. That's not how it works. So yeah, my manager has been working with trying to appease a lot of these people with these people who don't quite know how computers work, asking for very specific high-tech details of how computers work, and all that jazz. But yeah, just an off-the-shelf computer. It's like, okay. I did not get him an off-the-shelf computer because he asked for things like terabyte hard drive, i7. I heard that's a fast one. I want to get an i7. Okay, I can get you an i7. Here you go. But yeah, what we basically ended up doing was just going on Newegg Computer Parts, buying one for them, and with a slight markup because they were friends and family type stuff. But we still need to make profit on this stuff. So yeah, and everybody was happy and fine. Hey, cool, that works out. Alright. Time for a little bit of dry brushing, I think. Soften up the galaxial cloud we got here. But yeah, it's you learn some weird things dealing with people like that. Yeah, they all think they know everything and don't realize how little they actually understand any of it. It's just people. Oh, that's a bit of a holotext. Give me a sec. You know what? Thought I heard something, but yeah. Stumbled into a stream. That was just up here. Yes, that's another one. Well, you know, you can do that for a fair amount of things, but when you're building like custom things, you need a bit of a you need a bit of at least understanding of how things go. Because yeah, it's a lot of people do tend to just like bum rush their way through problems, and it can work. It is a legitimate strategy at times, but not all times. And like specific computer hardware and whatnot is kind of one of them. You are not the right spot for things. You know what? Let's think a bit darker here. Give me a sec. I'm trying to make this look decent. A little less on here. It's good that you managed to run into the guy and help him out. And that's one of the things I do like when things happen, like just well, I'll just run into this stream, see what's up, and hey, that's actually a topic I can help the guy with. Or just random bits of, hey, my really random specific set of knowledge can help out this person at this particular moment. It's really cool when things line up like that. Learn about the issues. Yeah, it's at the very least have a reference ready. You may not know all the specifics, but at least if you have something you can refer to, that does help an immense amount. Because like the first time I took apart game consoles, it was a bit of a jarring issue. I didn't go into it blind, but I did have like internet videos or a basic understanding of, okay, these screws have to come out. It comes here. Now what? It looks like I think I need this part taken apart to get to the laser to clean it out, and stuff like that. And it wasn't totally blind, but it was going in there with a focus on understanding how it works, as opposed to, I'll just figure it out later. There's a different mindset for how that plays out. Alright. Actually, you know what? Yeah, no, that was the wrong move. I needed you there. It probably doesn't look like much at the moment, but I'm trying to just make it a little bit more flowy. It needs a touch up. You know what? Dry brush. But yeah, it's when you get to a new processes, new things, it's try and understand it, try and learn it, try and look into how things work, and try and look at it from a point of, I want to understand how it works, as opposed to, I'll get it done. Because yeah, it's data lines. That's the worst one. That's why whenever I accept a new phone at my job that I've never taken apart before, I always look it up, because you've got the screen, and all the screens have some cable going from the touchpad or what have you wrapped around back into the main board of the phone. Some of them have the cable up here, some of them down here on the base, some of them right up here on the top. You never know unless you have actually taken it apart before. And so I always have a reference going, okay, stay away from that point, because that's where the cable is. Some phones. I said I was going to dry brush, not paint more. Okay, let's see if I can touch it up some. But yeah, it's paint. It's phones are crazy. Yeah, they're designed not to be repaired. Ironically, iPhones are easier to repair than the Androids. Clean out that bit. But yeah, it's they are all sorts of crazy. Though they do have a bit of logic to them. They would have to function. But yeah, that needs to be a lighter color. Yeah, this bit here needs to come out, and so it's just kind of a middle ground. Alright, but yeah. Planned obsolescence. Yes, yes indeed. Hell, it's... What's really bizarre is it's happening faster and faster. Not... the, phones are designed to last nothing. Yeah, Samsung has the current A series of phones coming out, and they're already at like, yeah, start at A01, A10, A20, 30, 40, 50, 51, 60, 70, 71, and they just keep pushing it. It's not sustainable. iPhone 5, yeah, those are those ones are a bit funky, take apart, but those ones were at least designed to be repaired. Is this 5C? You know, that was after they had the pull tab, I think. Yeah. Did that one have a pull tab on the battery or not? More effort than I wanted. That's actually one of the easier ones. Heating up the back glue on a battery is the most annoying part of working on a phone, because they just have the battery glued to the back of the frame. It's annoying to come up, take off. I have a heat pad and a heat gun. That definitely helps with it, but still it's frustrating. But no, some of the worst phones I've had to replace are Samsung. It was, one of the worst ones was the S6 Edge Plus, I think was the one I had. Using a heat gun, yep. Technically, you can just sit there and, like, eventually with, like, a playing card or something, wear the adhesive off. But it, takes a lot of effort. Heat makes things go a lot faster. Yeah, this is too much. I gotta lighten that up area. But oh yeah, Nightmare, you get my message about the wasp stuff? I haven't checked the message replies in a bit. But yeah, I think that was all the information we really worked with. My dad had to look up a bit more before he was sold on the idea, but that stuff works. I can straight up guarantee it. But yeah, the phones. There was the Samsung S6 S Plus. Oh wow, we're after 6. I guess I'll put the paint away for a moment and finish up my story. And there goes the spikes. All right. Yeah. So the phone, the Samsung, they have different models, but this one was a large curved edge screen. They wanted me to replace the charge port. The charge port is underneath the phone, wraps around, and then goes underneath the screen for the square button and the back button. And yeah, the internet's starting to wig out again. So in order to take that phone apart, you have to heat off the back glass panel. Take that off. Unscrew the back there. Take the charge port, which is hooked underneath the back end of a motherboard. Take it out like that. Take that off. Heat up the screen without breaking it. Take that out. Put that back in and put it all together. Didn't work. There's another one. I think it was S5 or something. One of them. To get that one out apart, you pop off the back panel. I don't think that was a difficult aspect of it. But then you have to physically remove the whole screen to access the screws. Take the screws off. Flip it back over. Take off the mid frame, and then you have access to whatever the hell it is. And so you've got to remove the screen. That's a physical requirement for it. It's a pain in the ass. All right, well, cool. Yeah, it's that stuff is phenomenal. It will work absolutely. If you have any wasps in the area, it'll just kill them flat out. You don't need to get that big old quart, gallon, pint, whatever the hell size that is. The main ingredient is fipronil, is what kills the wasps. So if you get the anti-flea medicine that you can pick up at like a pet store or something, if it has that in there, I think you can use that for smaller amounts, cheaper, more easily accessible type stuff. But my dad wanted the true big stuff because we had wasps from all over the area. But it's whatever it is that'll work for you. That's most of the information. If you need more, just feel free to message me about it. But I do gotta get going. Bit over time on the stream, and I saw a spike going, so can't guarantee how long I'll be able to stay up. So take care, everybody. Hope you had fun. Oh yeah. Before I go, let me just give you a little view of what I got. There we are. It's working out. It's working out. It's starting to take shape. Could be better. Could be better. Could be worse. But currently, it's what I'm doing. So making progress. I think we'll maybe start with the legs for the next stream, and work our way over. Maybe finishing up this background. It's still bugging me. Yeah, this part right here needs to take out, so that way it's just a straight line. If you ever need help with phone stuff, look up ifixit.com. They've got references for any repair device, most of them anyway. But yeah, have a peaceful day, y'all.